The pasuk reads, "Emunas itim chosen Yeshuas v'das." That's the 6 words. So we've gone through. Why are we doing this, by the way? Chodesh derech agav. The main thing is explain Zroim and Moya, the connection between itim and munas itim. That Yom Tov is the gilui of the avodah, which is riyah, which is bittul, and ha'or of the gilui. But he's also, the course, explaining the whole, all 6 orders of the Mishnah, which is what this pasuk is referring to. This is all to explain why Chodesh Aviv, why ניסן is in Chodesh Aviv, not Aviv is in ניסן. Because that's the point, it's the Giloi of the Avodah, or of the Giloi at least. So Vedas, we started saying that Taras, so yesterday was in Arichus, which I say the words now, when you bezed in Yedua, Meshakasav Rambam Shatum Va'atayre, but Zeres HaKosovin, Varim Chalachukim, so purity and impurity is Chukim, Shein Atum, Tita Yitzir, Shatav B'mayim, it's not physical dirt, that's removed with water. Like Zeres HaKosov, it's a divine decree, V'hainu Shafshal L'chil Nasa Shin Klal, immersing in the mikveh, there's no observable change. The other way around, so becoming Tomei is the observable change. There's still a person becomes Tomei. So explained, we made a explanation how a person can become Tomei because of the Makiv. And Makiv explained yesterday means that because this transcendent level of Bligvol that tolerates, allows even Tumah. Right? Again, Haman wanted to exploit that. And we said yesterday the vote that the Ganav exploits that and praying to God for success. You're so vast and I'm so insignificant. Would this spoil some vast eternal plan, as Tevye said? So the answer to that is das, no, the personal connection. So Tumah draws from Makiv the Klippa, which draws from Makiv the Kedusha. That's the answer to Tumah is das. Tahara is connected with das. In order to affect purity, they makiv the klippa by refining the makiv. What does it mean? Refining the makiv of the klippa. It's by setting it straight. That makiv, that infinite level, does not mean that I'm insignificant because the Eibishter wants me and makes me significant, even for makiv, even lagabe bligvul. This was the teichen of the whole maamer of Purim, the second book of the maamer. The second maamer that said then Purim Toshin Yud Gimel. Fall of Stalin, the death of Stalin then, right? You all know the story. So it's through Makif, it's through Das that pearls the bittel of the Makif, the clip, and the end of the Maimah was why it's called Purim, which means girdle, because even the dark of girdle is Shaykh Yidden only. You won't exploit that and say that Makif all are equally insignificant. No, the Atzmos, everything now is invested in the Jew, not just the Atzmis de Kebchira, but the Keich HaBligvul, the Makiv itself is also Eir Ein Sof, and so on, also only invested in Yidden, in Torah mitzvahs and God's chosen desire. So Zari is, so he just says it now here, Hadizari, the B'chinas Hadas. So what is Mevarer, again, Mevarer means clarifies and sets straight and elevates and puts into context. The union of Makiv doesn't render us insignificant. On the contrary, grants us even greater strength, because we now even have the Keich HaMakiv, because the result of the B'chir of Atzmus. We're clear what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's Das. Das means the Kavon the Pnimi is connecting. I'm talking to you. God wants you. God means you. Actually, I want to qualify. I said yesterday that it's more than simply answering the Bocher, struggling with davening. The Eibishter wants to hear your davening. It's much more than that. It's all the Eibishter wants is your davening. You are everything. B'shvili nivra olam. That's true of every year, but that's the emes. There's nobody in the world. All God wants is to hear you daven, and everything else He wants from us, and that's nothing else. That's the emes. People misbrain in that. That'll have an effect. She'elu magas pnimis hakeser. So das affects pnimis hakeser. That's the etzem. That's higher than the makif. Lamada yosem mash magas pnimis hachachma. Higher than what reaches from the level of chachma, which is ishtalshalus. For yedeze nasi leidak birus, of the end. The end is, this is the, we started saying that Nezikin is the bir the Dalit of Nezikin, the four primary categories of damage. But that is already a klippa in its actual engagement in its opinimistic ways. It engages the world in its metamas in a opinimistic way. Metama, the mind, the heart, the behavior. Chachma bin teferes malchus. But we go here, Tahara goes beyond it, the very source of it. The klippa. It elevates the source of it, which is makifim, which, as we said yesterday, ula yeshleima, the meaning is, if it gets to the root of the problem, taharas. Why do you sin? Because you think it doesn't make a difference. In the face of makif, it doesn't. That's the whole cause of the sin. If we felt for a moment that we make a difference, and this makes a difference to me, to God, the world, everything, we'd never do it. It's because of our perception of insignificance, which is engendered by the makif. So the nizikin is the cleanup of the actual sin itself. You fix the sin and you regret it and you move on. That's say the nizikin. But taharis, purity gets to the source of it all. The makif, you count. It's like, it's pasnished more. How can I do this? I'm a chassid, but this is even more, even harder hitting. You make the difference. You count. That's the pshat. Continuing in the round brackets, like it says in the Torah in Parshas Achrei, which talks about Yom Kippur. The pasuk says, "This day will purify aleichem upon you to purify aleichem dafke." Because why? Because Yom Kippur reaches the makif. That's the makif you count, and even the makif is invested in you. In the face of Bligvul, you're everything, believe it or not. And therefore, what? It cleanses and washes away. But when we're dealing with the nitty-gritty of the sins and cleaning up on a conscious level, you have to do the purity. You got to clean that up. But the echap is because I've chosen and you count. The makif, the tar of the makif is taken significant in the face of the makif. So why are we, how's it nimshach to us? Because Atzma says, all I want is you. And with that comes my kechabligvol, the makifim, everything I've got, it's all for you. There's the nosi, that even those in yonim that are shaychus only to him, which is nisim, which are nesius from us, are beyond us. There's the roya nema, he gives that too. Same meaning. Now the whole pasuk the faith of your times, chaysen, a fortress or strength, Yeshua, salvation, chachmas, v'das, wisdom and knowledge. Shekoy al shisas the Mishnah refers to all 6 orders. The Mishnah closes the entire Torah, as it affects the world. And how does it begin? The first thing is emunasitecha, which is say the Zray Mamoyed. The agriculture, that's the avodah that we do, right? The Zidul Lachem Tzedakah has explained that, but that's avodah. And Moed is Yontiv, that's Yontiv HaKoshim Zman Bishul HaTvom, which is connected to the ripening of the grain. Because Kiklolas and Yonat Torah of Mitzvah is Banazel, Yonat Zibachlal, the avodah is Riyah, but on Yontiv we taste the ripening, the fullness of it all. B'chlal, the avodah is, you don't see the result. The avodah is digging deep, and the avodah is bittul, the plant, the sowing of the seed, etc. The growth, bishul hatvu, is the ripening of the grain, will be lasted love fully revealed then. However, we get a ha'orah, that's why she made simcha, he said, on Yom Tov. Oh, so now we're going to answer my question, why he's talking about all of this, the Tzemach Tzedek, all the 6 orders, No, he's going no. He's focusing on the Chodesh Zelachem. V'yashleimek b'derech Hevshar, the Rebbe's Chidushin. Yashzel gam ha'kesh masha kosev ha'Chodesh Zelachem. That's why this is the month of your redemption. Chodesh, this is Chodesh Shel Geula. The question was, but they already stopped working in Rosh Hashanah, so why Chodesh ניסן? Right? This was the question at the beginning of this Maimon. Tishrei botla avodim aviseinu. Like Yosef, who went out from imprisonment on Tishrei, as the pasuk tells us in Tehillim. Good morning, David. Okay. So, just 1 second. Yeah. I can only do this pin business when someone joins. Okay. So this is the connection with Chodesh Shalachem, Chodesh Hanislam, Chodesh Shel Geula, that this is the month of redemption. When we redeemed and when we will be redeemed. Now we have the answer. So the focus on the first, Emunas Itim. Because Nisan's in the month of Aviv, we're already we're seeing the ripening. That's the taste. That's the connection to the final redemption, when it's a full ripening, a full blossoming, the full flowering. The Jewish people come down and they take root and they fill the world with their yield. That's the pasuk, the Hemshech HaPasuk. That's because as a result of the yashreish of being seeded and planted in the world in Golos and the whole avodah of Mesiras Nefesh and Bittul, the end is a world that blossoms and flowers, becomes a basilagani, achesi kala, becomes a beautiful orchard garden that God shares with us. After the avodah of the shayr of the seeding. That's the seeding and so on that you didn't do throughout the 6,000 years that the world exists before Mashiach comes. That's B'chalal, but especially in the Golus period, that what defines the revelation when Mashiach comes is the Avodah Dafkin Zman HaGolus. The Avodah till then was a Hachonah and was the context, but the real nuance and deepening of the relationship with Hashem happens dafke in the struggle of Golus, dafke in the Zriya, dafke in the Avodah within the earth and so on. That's why Nisan is Chodesh HaGeula, again in summary, because Nisan already we're seeing the ripening. So already and that's fully be revealed when Mashiach comes. Hence, redemption is associated dafke with what? With Chodesh HaOviv, with the ripening of the grain. And this is what he says, that's the Tzemach Tzedek. Tevas Aviv, the word Aviv, Shemay Chodesh Nisan, Chodesh Aviv, the name of the month of Nisan, which is called in Torah, Chodesh Aviv, which means two things. Rashi says spring, that also means the beginning of the ripening. But actually, no, spring is the general term, but why is it called spring? Because Av, it's when things first start to ripen. And avia means fullness, ripening actually means ripening. But now he gives another bia bitch. Mascheba aleph vachkach beis. It's aleph beis. Aleph beis considers the order of the aleph beis from the top down. Milamayla lamato. Like in my Tishrei should say the tashrak. Tishrei is tafshin reish. We're going from the end of the aleph beis and we're working upwards. Milamata lamayla. As the Fidgeb explains at length in his Maimer on these words of Tavshin, which he quoted earlier, the previous Maimer, so what is this? Because, as we said, that Tishrei is Nisan, and that's Chesed. So Chesed is Milamayda Lamata, therefore it's Aleph Beis. We're going down from the top, from the Aluf down. The Tishrei is Shuv and Gvura, therefore it's Malabata Lamayla, Tov Shin Reish. And that's why the final redemption about which it says you will return Beshuva in a way of settling, and Nachas, and in Nachas you will be saved. Tiyeh ben Nisan. Why is Beshuva v'Nachas as opposed to Gvuras and lightning and fire and smoke? because it's going to be in the way of chesed. Like the Rebbe Rashab told the Frierdiker Rebbe, b'chesed v'rachamim. You're going to go through a terrible time, but the end will be b'chesed v'rachamim. Because the end, it has to be v'shuva v'nachas chedesh Nisan kedas Rabbi Yeshua, shepalakadi v'Rabbi Eliezer, he argues Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yeshua, im yisol leisin tshuva negolin. Rabbi Eliezer says they don't do tshuva, if you don't deserve it, it's not happening. Svirlish b'cholei f'ntiagul, Rabbi Yeshua says no, it's going to be regardless. Mishakos of chinam nimkartem. You were sold into slavery for nothing. Simple meaning is because you worshipped nothingness. The deeper meaning is at the end of the day, it's not your fault. It's all the divine plan. V'lebekesef tigalu, not with money, will be redeemed, which means through your avodah. Kesef, your avodah of Torah mitzvahs. The simple meaning of it is it's a criticism, and the deeper meaning is it's not your fault, chinam. So you were sold into slavery, chinam. That was because you served that which was empty. Which ha'tשכ chinam is not your fault. Basically, saying the pshat level here, because you served that which is naught and nothing. But you won't be redeemed through tshuva, ma'asim tovim, through your payment. I'm taking you out. But what about the mile of tshuva? There'll still be the mile of Chodesh Tishrei. There'll still be our avodah, and that's been the avodah for thousands of years. If you say to me, moreover, not just Tamar avodah. Shebegula said it in Amabai, and we're called daughter of Tzia, not Hashem's sister, not his kala, not his mother. Bas dafke b'chinas makabel. Why? Because that's the avodah of the recipient that focuses on our avodah. Lamata. I'm sorry. The basia means with the recipient of the Eibishter's benevolence. B'chinas bas. That's the level of bas. It's the flow of the alpha bekin will be the mile of what of Chodesh Tishrei. You say to me that, but in addition to the mile of Chodesh Tishrei, there is tshuva. It'll be the mile of what? Of Damshach Malamila Lamata Basin, receiving. This is what, how does it go together? If you remember the Maimon we learned of ha'tשכ b'shefer gadol. So they're coming, you're doing tshuva, but it's happening like by itself. Even the tshuva itself is malamayla. It's similar to this nakoda. There'll be the mile of tshuva. Varaya, look, but it's an atzmidik tshuva. Why are you doing tshuva? I don't know, because I'm Jewish. We're propelled. It's not like the old days of tshuva where I sinned in Gehenna and it's a whole cheshbon. It's almost, it's not a cheshbon. You met someone, okay, start keeping Shabbos. It all happens melamayla. So what's the bas? Shem ban amizbar bas. It refers to Shem ban. Shem ban is the gilu Shem Havaya with a hey. Hey is spelled hey, right? And that yields 52. That's the lower hey we're talking about. The hey of which is malchus. And what's malchus? That's bas. That's us, the recipient. The focus is the recipient is Ali Yosef. So then the recipient is going to go even higher in B'chinas Imi than the high of Imi, my mother, which is Mashpia, B'chinas Bin Mashpia in Zoh. Yinat Tshuva. So, yeah, okay, qualify. This Aliyah that he's talking about, he just said before, Milamayla Lamata. On the one hand, the Bas is Milamayla Lamata, the recipient, but then the Bas ascends. Milamata Lamayla, that's the Givaldige Tshuva. Shezeh avodah the Chodesh Tishrei. But the implication here is that the tshuva itself is because of the Gilim B'Lamayla. This is explained at length in those Maimarim. Bottom line is, it's both the mile of absolute Gilim B'Lamayla and the mile of Tishrei. So we learned in the previous Maimarim, and all these Maimarim, they connected to Chodesh HaShvi and Shvi L'Rishon. It's not handout. If it's a handout, the pure handout, then it's meaningless. It comes in and through our avodah. So that's Rani v'simchi basim, rejoice, O daughter of Tzion. No, you're makabel, l'mayda lamata. What's the rejoicing? That you will be elevated, not just where you are receiving, but be at this al even higher than the avodah of tshuva, which is Tishrei, which is imi. I'm sorry, the avodah of bina, because that's which is avodah, which is avodah of tshuva per se, the avodah of gvura, etc. L'chayr is connected with what you said before about tahara. That tshuva is a pretty mizdik avodah. That's titoru, yeah. It's clear. I mean, Yom Kippur is lifnei Hashem titoru. You got to do it. That's the avodah malmata l'mayda. But then it comes the tahara of Nisan, which is beyond even the or the kapara, the aleichem. That's a higher darga. That comes to you, and that's although it happens. There's that element in Yom Kippur, but the shleimus of that is Nisan. Yeah, we're getting the general idea. Okay. That's also reflected in the letters. What does it mean? In the Torah, they're average oisius, which is the vast majority of all the letters of the Torah. Then there's big ones, and small ones. So if you place the aleph, by Adam was a big aleph, by Moishe ben was a small aleph, as you will know. Huh? So, okay, what's the nekud? The small letters, of course, is malchus, the recipient. Or us. Am I hearing something?
Yeah, you have to mute everybody.
We're hearing you, David. And as from Benyanim, so the average size letters is Zah. Shizah b'madei teresh b'ksav, that dominates teresh b'ksav, that's Zah. Zah is mashpia, teresh b'ksav is given to us. Vasmi Ravravin, and like the small letters like teresh b'alpeh, that's malchus. Vasmi Ravravin in bebina, and then the here and there, you have these big letters, that is what? Bina, not Zah. Yafa begin nonetheless in the davke b'malchus asm zeirin. It's only the small letters malchus heicham b'is aleph shascholas ha'isius, beginning with the letter aleph, which is the first of all letters shazar aleph tanecha v'alikecha, the aleph avrecha v'echa sheshayich l'chodesh Nisan, which is connected to Nisan, presumably because Shavuos is the hemshech of Matan Torah, of the Geula, Shulamayim B'Yisraelim, which is Matan Torah, higher than creation, which is Chodesh Tishrei, and that starts by his base, the Bereshis. So Tishrei starts Bereshis, that's base, that's what, that's Bina. But the small aleph is connected with Anoicha V'Alikecha, that's Malchus in the aleph Zeira, Yerlosid Love, the small aleph, which is by Moishe Beinu, the small aleph Vayikra, will be illuminated that the Shamas Yisrael, the Eir Godly Yosef Shalav, even greater than the big aleph. That's Adam. Even bigger. Okay. He doesn't spell it out for us, but that's the small aleph, which is Anoicha V'Alikecha. It's not small, it's a regular size. The only time it's small is by Moshe Rabbeinu, by Yikra. So on this small aleph is going to reveal the bigger aleph, which is bigger even than this, the aleph Rapsi found in Torah. Again, it's dafka Yidden, and it's dafka through a combination of our tshuva, which is empowered by the Gilui Milamayla and elicits a Gilui which is totally beyond us. This will be revealed in the final redemption. Then the harvest after the sowing, the clothes throughout as a result of the zriyah, the seeding of Avodah and Golos, like we said before, it's going to be in Chodesh Nisan. Chodesh Aviv, the month of fullness of spring. From when we were redeemed through the first Redeemer. And then we'll be redeemed through the final Redeemer, which the Medrash says, who girl.
You know where the Nagelwasser thing is?
What?
Oh, it's up there.
David, you're not muted. Who girl Rishon, he's the final Redeemer, the Medrash says, and the Zohar says, just by the question, how could it be Moshe is a Levi and Mashiach is Yisrael from Shevet Yehuda? So it's all it's all one neshama, different dagas of neshama, impregnation of neshamas. Mashiach tzidkenu yav v'yigaleinu v'yalechenu k'mitzratzenu. He will come and redeem us and lead us upright to our land by Golodidan in our time. Yeah, so what's in the Kuda? Let's have a look at the summary. Right, we have it. I'll give it to you. But yeah, it's like the yellow papers. It's right on top there. Thank you. Thank you. Seems like summary is not a summary. Oh, it's the second page.
Not the one I gave you?
Oh, yeah, there's another yellow page over there. There's another one. We just finished Maimed Aleph. Yeah, we finished all three. Yeah, it's not there? Should be.
I think this is here. This one here? I mean,
yeah. So this is it. This is page number 2. We need both pages. So the bottom of the page, let's read it. We did all 3 HaChodesh. The next Maimed in the Sages, what the Rebbe said for 100 years of the Stalkus was unique standalone Maimed kind of. Munasitecha, your faith, your timely faith, and the Hemshech Psukim. So says the Gemara, Munaz say the Zoyma, Itecha say the Moed. Why are these 2 words associated together? Because Kviyas HaMoedim, Itecha, Tolu, Tluya, Bizman Bishalatvo, Zroim, the whole the Yom Tovim are all following the pattern and the order of the seeding and so on, and the harvest and the ripening of the grain. Why? Beruchnius, because we have a revelation of what's going to be revealed, the sprouting, the ripening of the grain, which happens as a result of our seeding into the mitzvahs. Every Yom Tov we have a revelation of that. And that's why Nisan is in the month when the grain ripens. Tchilas Bishat, the beginning of the ripening of the grain, because redemption, that is what it's, the ripening. It's the consequential as a result of our seeding. And finally, a very short line here. So Aviv is Aleph base Kesidron Aleph. That's why Aleph base is month of spring is the Aleph base going down, because it's Milamayla Lamata, not like Tishrei, which is Tavshin Rishkov, going from the end of the Aleph base up Milamata Lamayla. But then at the end of the mind, but he says that even though it's all a Gila Milamayla, nonetheless it has the Maila also of Teshuvah also in Chodesh ניסן. And as we said before, based on the Maimar of Hoyabaya Mahur, what does it mean? It means that the Teshuvah that we're doing at the end of Golas, it's an Atzmizdika Teshuvah, which means I'm Jewish and this is what we do, as opposed to the gut wrenching Teshuvah, the previous Deiris and then the Cheshbonis and the Gehendam and all the Cheshbonis there, and the descriptions of Teshuvah in the Sifrei Musar and in Gemara and in Medrash. So on the one hand, it's like our tshuva is much shallower, where there's deep regret. You know, the Baal Shem Tov even said, what's the Baal Shem Tov said, give a mashal for what regret is. This is even the Baal Shem Tov. Regret is, he gives a mashal of a fellow that he used to, he wanted to take the raft across the river, and they told him, don't go, it's a terrible weather, and you'll go tomorrow, wait till the weather subsides. No, he's got to go now. He gets on his boat, and it capsizes, and he's drowning. As he goes down, they hear him scream the Russian word charot. Why didn't I listen? He really means it. Then there's another mashal of a mother that suffocated a child while sleeping. And then they heard her crying, what have I done? What have I done? That's charot. And then then you hear she crying, what do I do now? That's the second stage. I mean, that's not our tshuva. This is not our tshuva. We're not even shaykhs to it. So we're just, because we're shallow people. But the emphasis, no, it's atzmizdika thing. The tshuva is, I'm a Yid, and this is what Jews do, and it now's my time, I whatever, met a story in the head, No, not earth-shattering and not thunder and lightning. It's just, yesterday I did like this, today I'm going to start to do this. Slowly, still. Because that's music. I'm a Yid. It's music, Yeshuva. That's ניסן. The Eibish's choice in Yid. It's all the Bechira. The Maimah of Yid Aleph ניסן is all the Eibish's choice. Shevet Osher. The Maimah we all learned, right? The Pikich, Anon Nasiv Malka. It's all because that's who I am. So it's not less, it's much deeper. So it has the Maila of Milamayla Lamata, the Maila of Tshuva, and it's the Tachlis HaShlemus. V'nisan Nigula, where you merit it without delay. That's today, Erev Pesach, the birth of the Rambam, the Rebbe Kotzach. The Rambam born on Erev Pesach. And the Maral. Okay, Yidden. Line.